Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for your ROH post show. It is June 29th. We are steamrolling into July, baby. Let's rock and roll. This is maybe my least favorite episode of ROH so far, which is a super bummer. And considering that I was there live and it was really fun live, the way they spliced this together,
Yeah, I was
not
gonna
my
say
favorite.
you were there for some of this. I think they were adding some extra things in the show. The show was just put together with different body parts. One head's from over here, one arm's from over here, a leg from there.
It was in Chicago. It was in Toronto. It might have been back in Orlando for all we know. But guys, we're going to need your help with this one. We're going to need you to get in those super chats and get in those humper chats because, buddy, this was just not that fun today. But we are also going to remind you to go ahead and subscribe to Fightful Select. There is so much news coming out there. Oh, my gosh. Updates on the Bryan Danielson injury and what that's doing to AEW creative plans a little bit. News on WWE trying to Vince-proof shows, which seems like a very healthy situation.
What the hell?
Yikes. But more and more coming out on FightfulSelect.com. Red, we're kind of in the same boat. We talked about this very briefly before we went on air, but this was not our favorite episode. I had a lot of complaints about this, but it just felt very, very lazy. It does not feel like this promotion has a pay-per-view coming up in 3 weeks from now. And I feel like the frustration continues to be the in-ring is phenomenal. Like, these are some of the best wrestlers in the world, but it seems like they carry the effort and there's not really a whole heck of a effort around it, which just kind of makes it feel like Ring of AEW Dark to me. It doesn't really feel like a promotion that is headed toward being its own viable thing. And to me, like, I'm kind of at the point where it feels like it's losing its identity a little bit. It's champions are defending on AEW more than they are in ROH. We don't have standings. Today, we just threw the stipulation of a proving ground match out the window and still called it that. But this is probably my least favorite episode of the new era, and that includes what I reviewed a 19-match episode with the champions. So that is my feelings on it. But I know you had some frustrations with this episode too. What overall your thoughts? We'll start with.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I want somebody to care about this show. Kate and I can't be the only ones that care about this damn show. Like, the people on the show have to care. The people writing the show have to care. The show has to mean something. We didn't want to get to ROH Dark, but we're here, and I don't know if we're ever going to turn back. Seems like this might go on to be the norm. We're just going to get like, okay, there's all these great wrestlers. Everybody go out there and have these great matches. We have these multi-man matches. We have 8-man matches. We have 6-man matches. We have this. We have all these going on, but nothing really to bite and sink into, and no stories. And they're going to just change all the stipulations when they want just because. And it's very unfortunate going from where we started with this and those Universal tapings and feeling like, oh man, this is great brand. There's stories being told. There's all this. Now we're three weeks out from a pay-per-view, and it's like, what's on the show?
I don't know. And the unfortunate thing is it feels like the most logical things to do are to run back stuff that happened 5 months ago or whatever. So that's just frustrating too, because it's like, felt like we were headed back toward Garcia and Shibata. And now it seems like Garcia is going for the international title. We might fire up Claudio and Eddie. Okay, that's kind of cool, I guess, but there hasn't been a story in place for that.
But Eddie's apparently in the G1 for that.
That's right.
For Dishonor too, so can't do that. Like,
can't be that. Our tag teams, we talk about it week over week. They haven't had any stories or been around, and it was made in such a big deal in the honor of Jay Briscoe. And Athena's had a really good build.
Yeah.
But if she's facing jobber number 7, we know what the outcome of those matches are going to be. Let's be real. No offense to Casey Spinelli, she's great, but we know realistically what's happening here, right? Your 6-man titles are just no story belt. Like, this is frustrating. And I think the part that kind of breaks my heart about it a little bit is this was the most logical brand for a while. You had rankings where it was, if you were at the top of the rankings, you were the next contender. Like, even in Delirious's ROH, which was right before it shut down in an hour-long episode each time, crystal clear what was going on in the product. So,
Yeah.
and it just feels like if the wrestlers care enough to do what they do in the ring like they did on this episode, because the in-ring was a blast, you'd hope that there'd be a little bit more effort behind what's supporting it. But we've got some super chats and humper chats coming in already. We appreciate it so stinking much. Patchy Rick saying we need a special Sour Grapsody layout for shows like tonight. We do. When it's not great, we should have a Sour Grapsody frame for sure.
Totally, 1000%.
For sure. But guys, we're gonna need your help to get through this. The episode starts with Tony Khan and Stokely Hathaway opening the show backstage. They run down parts of the card. I don't know what we're doing here. Stokely's always fun to have on screen. Maybe they should give him actual creative power. Maybe that would be helpful.
Maybe that would be fun. Like, let's actually see him book this show, like in real life.
Yeah, somebody should be. It just feels like it's getting tossed together. But this is fun. They're continuing to play this cat and mouse game a little bit with Stokely being a suck up, but also being on an ego trip, which is fun. It's a fun thing to do, but not in love with Stokely's ROH so far, and Jerry Lynn's.
This is what he's doing, what they're doing.
Yes.
Tony, take it back. Tony made a grave mistake, dude.
Yeah,
Change
you know
it.
what? Let's whatever was happening in those Orlando tapings, let's go back to who that was, wherever that was rocking and rolling. But our first match is Dralistico and Preston Vance, of course, with Jose the assistant, defeating Mark Wheeler and Vikram Prashar. I hope I'm saying that right. Apologies if I'm not. But this ends with Dralistico diving on with a springboard code breaker onto Prashar, and Vance finishing Wheeler with a big old discus lariat. This was a squash. Not a ton to say about it. I will say for an opening match, considering how chopped up this episode was, maybe pick a different opener than a squash. When you've got freaking Vikingo later in the show with the Lucha Brothers and Komander and
the opener should have been Willie Mack and El Desperado, I think, because like the crowd got super into, like the crowd felt different for that match, or they're just really behind Willie Mack. I don't know what it is, but yeah, interesting opener here, going with the squash again. Like this tag team only does that. When Rooster's here, it was the same thing. They're continuing the same thing here with Preston Vance, and it's just like, all right, you guys, like we get it, we got it. This is the squash portion of Ring of Honor, but I don't care.
Yeah, and it just it's not really accomplishing anything, because we're like, okay, we get it. Dralistico's amazing and Preston Vance is a solid worker. All right. I don't think we gain anything from these 2 minutes. In fact, if you cut this match, you wouldn't have had to change the stipulation of a freaking proving ground match. But anyway,
we don't even have time limits on this show. Why are they putting we just watched a 3-hour show like last week. Now y'all talk about time limits.
My only theory about that is they realized it after. Like it was supposed to be a proving ground match, but maybe they went long and didn't realize it, so they had to reverse engineer, is my guess. But that's incredibly lazy if that's the case too. There should be a timekeeper. Holy crap. But first real match of the night is probably the strongest story going in ROH. Unfortunately, it's not around a title, but I think it's been really good. And probably the only story that's accomplished what it's supposed to in AEW and ROH. I don't know what people are bitching about with the Young Bucks and the Dark Order feuding. It makes no sense to me that people have a problem with that. If you're burnt out on it, fine. But if I'm the Dark Order, I'm pretty pissed that this guy who I was backing up for literally like a year and a half or whatever suddenly just jumps ship and goes back to his old guy. That would piss me off, especially when Stu Grayson is doing this. But this was a really, really good match. The crowd was really alive for a lot of the matches that we saw from the live perspective, and this was one of them. This story is excelling, but the finish here is that the behind the ref's back, we get Stu Grayson running in and hitting Reynolds with a running knee, and Vincent rolls up Reynolds for the pin. Some really fun stuff in here. In the beginning, the Dark Order ignoring the Code of Honor, which feels like maybe we're getting a little heel turn. And there was just a really nice deadlift brain buster in here from John Silver. We'll talk about the post-match in a second because there's some interesting dissension with that. But what were your thoughts on this match? I feel like this is one of the things that is excelling in ROH.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
Yeah, this is like the one story that they're telling really well, and the things connected to it are really fun. Yeah, that's what I was saying last night on the post show of that. There's a lot of people that didn't like the Young Bucks and Dark Order stuff. And I'm like, I could understand because if you're not invested in like BTE or like watch Ring of Honor, on a weekly basis, you could probably get lost. You're like, who are these Dark Order guys? What are they doing? But like, if you do keep up with those shows, you could be very invested in what they do, and the story that they're telling is something that you want to be played up more on TV. So that match played a big role. And so they're continuing pretty much what they were doing last night on this show here with dissension just in the ranks. Evil Uno and Stu are on the outside getting into it. It's just so sad to see the guys, but they are just not liking each other right now. And but yeah, I'm liking the story that they're telling. I'm liking Evil Stu in this match and with the Righteous. And as far as the only story that they're telling a really good story with it, at least. So the thing that we do get does have some meat on the bones.
It definitely does. And I will counter argue you by saying if you were watching the product 2 years ago, I don't think you need to be following ROH and BTE for that. Like, I think it's a very obvious story if you watched the whole Hangman Adam Page saga with Kenny Omega, which is arguably the most well-executed story in the company's history. So I don't get why people were all up in arms about that, because I don't know, if somebody just who you helped out for a year and a half was like, I'm going to abandon you and go hang out with these guys now, that seems like a perfectly fair motivation to me.
Especially when he's just clowning and like kind of blowing them off like, oh yeah, you guys are jokes, whatever. I'm over here with my real friends doing real things. Like, you guys should stay over to the side. No, dude, we want to fight. I want to kick your ass tonight on Dynamite. Let's go.
That's where I'm at with that. I get it. I relate to that. I also love little things in this, like Stu Grayson continuing to wear his jacket that it seems like he stole from Triple H 20 years ago, and the Righteous being in white. Like, I am in on the leather jacket Stu Grayson being his own renegade. If that's where this goes, that's my favorite outcome.
Eat your heart out, Jungle Boy.
That's right. That's right. Hollywood Jack. All right. But I really like that. Like, I feel like things like that really help that he hasn't like fully committed, right? Like, I love that it's not that he's so bought in on the Righteous. He just thinks they had a good point about the Dark Order kind of holding him back or whatever. Right. So I loved that. I think those little things help. And I thought he's just so damn good in the ring that even just little spots like this with that running knee, like, he looks so vicious in the way that he lays those things in. So it made a really big impact live. So I thought that was extremely well done. And then post-match, we have Evil Uno, who wouldn't hit his former partner with the chair. We saw this play out a week ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. But he also wasn't able to hit Stu in the ring. And now he can't do it with the chair after. Quite a nice angle here for the former partners. Alex Reynolds not happy about this. I think that's super fun. Like, I think if you're going to pull the thread, pull them all, right? Or at least have them all in play. My only concern is that when Stu Grayson wasn't around, Evil Uno was very much lost in the shuffle. So if it's like Silver and Reynolds go out on their own, I want to see Evil Uno still have something to do. And maybe he ends up tagging with Stu Grayson at the end of all this and their faces or something. We'll see what comes out of it. But I think there's a lot of avenues that you can go. And I don't know if any of them are a bad idea, which to me is a sign of a well-told story.
Yeah, I think those two, this Stu and Evil having a thing is just good options either way out of it. You either get a great feud where they're both like intense because you know that their history is that, or at the end of it, they get back together, whether it be heels or faces, and we just have that tag team again. So yeah, nothing but good could come out of this.
Yeah, I think it's really well done. Them not shaking hands before definitely tells me we are headed to a fight without honor. That'll probably be at the pay-per-view. Nice to know something that will be.
for now.
Thank you today, guys. Okay. A long drive back from Toronto. I covered for the Raw post show because Denise couldn't make it. But I've just been back in my usual non-sleeping little habits ever since. I'm cranky. Cranky about my favorite brand under delivering tonight. It felt like I said online. Yeah, it felt like NXT without the Skittles throw up logo and the backstage nonsense. Like this was just not great. But one thing that I do like seeing is Diamante coming out with a victory here over Leila Grey after Leila Grey beat her last week. I'm glad that she got the win back because I had said that I felt like Leila Grey wasn't the right person to snap her streak after she beat someone as strong as like a Trish Adora. But this is a good way to continue it. And Diamante gets her revenge a little bit. She uses the Crossroads for the win here, I believe, which is kind of fun. And we get some fun stuff in here. Mark Sterling breaking up the pin attempt by putting Leila Grey's foot on the bottom ropes, those sneaky little cheaters. But I liked that she got the W back. Like, if you're going to continue this little non-title feud, it's not my favorite because I think Leila Grey's got some work to do, but building up Diamante continually is a really good thing. Any thoughts on this match and where this might be going?
Yeah, them telling a little micro story with this, I'm not too mad about it. I thought that her losing last week was kind of silly, but them like immediately running it back and her getting it back and them trying to tell the story of she gets to keep the entire purse or whatever that they were telling with this is a really cool touch. And I just think, Diamante being more featured and them telling the story of her come up is going to be good because she's going to be built up to be one for Athena. And I thought potentially that she could be a heel going into this, but the stories that they're telling here are making her a great face, I think. So it's working out.
Agreed. I do feel like this match was rather short. The Athena match was rather short. I like how much women's wrestling we were getting on ROH. So add it to my list of cranky little complaints today, but we still get 2 women's matches and this is heading in the right direction. I think Diamante is going to be a logical challenger for Athena and that'll be a really, really great match when it does happen because they both like to beat the hell out of each other. So
facts.
Well, we get a really dumb promo from Claudio. I hated this because he managed in like 3 sentences to lie to me twice.
Lied to you in your face, Kate, right in your face.
He looked me in the eye. This badass, handsome devil of a fella. All right. And he lied to me like WWE lies to me on a weekly basis.
Unfortunately.
Like, this was so bad. And he initially says that nobody's been asking about the champion. And I'm like, well, Claudio, let me send you a link to our post show because we whine about it every freaking
everything. I thought I was honestly like, he's talking to us, I think, because he's saying that because this is a lie. You're lying, dude. Where you like, been?
Kate and Reg and my cool Swiss accent and my awesome looking stuff. You don't care that I'm around. Yes, we do. We've been saying we want our world champion to be around.
Are you saying that, Claudio? You're lying.
Even if we weren't out here whining about it every week, which I am, okay? Every week I come out here and I whine about this. The idea that your world champion wouldn't be in demand at its own promotion is stupid. But then we get the thing that pissed me off the most of anything. He grants Chuck Taylor, who's also comes in and asks for a shot here, a proving ground match, but he says the proving ground match without the stipulation, which is just a contendership match and takes like 90% of the fun of a proving ground match away. Why is the New Japan TV title more of a proving ground match than this? This was awful. Just call it a contendership match. Not everything has to be a proving ground match. It takes so much.
Proving ground match, that stipulation is what makes the match cool. You know what I mean? That's everything about this little stupid match that we're gonna have is the 10-minute stipulation. Chuck takes you to the limit, and we're out of here. That's the point. But he's like, "No, I don't want that part. You have to beat me, so then you're just done forever." It's like,
and spoiler alert. Claudio wins later in the episode anyway, so there was literally no reason to do this at all, except for the only thing that I can think of, which was this match ran longer than they thought it was supposed to, and they had to go maybe reverse engineer it. But that's really bad on their part as well. So Nothing
If they could
to
just
like
cut that
about
if that's needed. Like, there's no need for them to do that. Something was going on.
No, or just change a graphic to it's a contendership match. Like this was bad. So Claudio, if you're watching, which I know, let's be real, you are, because I'm sure
you
that's what you're
quoted us
doing with
today
your
on the
spare
show.
time.
Come on.
You did. You were like
Mhm.
at Miss Kate Fabe, at Righteous Reg. You're definitely not too busy being on two different television programs. Like, just don't lie to me, okay? Just we want you around. We want you around as our fighting champion.
And we want that match with Chuck.
We want that match with Chuck. We want you to be a fighting champion, even though you're kind of a meanie in this run. Kind of rude, to be honest. But don't lie to us. That's all.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. Well, I'll tell you something that was not that hard to get into, because this was a blast. This was for Reg. This took us all the way to Chicago, Reg. What the hell?
All the way back. We're making trips all over this episode. We're over Toronto and here. Oh, actually, no, we're going to be in Chicago for this next match.
Where in the world is Carmen Ring of Honor? That was this episode. Commentary putting over the Chicago crowd hard because Gringo Loco is from there, and they probably thought this was going to air last week, as we all would have thought, especially based on who was in this match. I don't know why you would ever delay someone from seeing this a week, but you get Vikingo, Komander, and the Lucha Bros versus Gringo Loco, Shane Taylor, and the Workhorsemen. This was a whole heck of a lot of fun. I like these matches. You love them.
Yes.
I usually like them and not love them because just stylistically, it's not my favorite thing. But this one did a lot of good work around feeling like a little bit less chaotic. I think because you had like Shane Taylor and the Workhorsemen anchoring the other side of this. Right. That really, really was fun. And for me, I prefer that collision of styles. But this was a little less of the wrecking ball crew that we get and a little bit more grounded. We got the Lucha Brothers hitting a double super kick on Henry and then finish him with the Fear Factor for the win. Some highlights here. The Vikingo head scissors while standing on Loco's shoulders. Holy cow. That was like poetry in motion. I absolutely loved that. I really liked this match, and I'm not even the biggest spot food gal as you are, but the anchoring of the other side was something I really, really liked. These luchadors, this collection of luchadors are all so good at being able to make their style connect. Well, definitely really good at that. They're excellent at that every week, but it's not acrobatic without logic. Like this is really, really nice when it's grounded in something here. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, because that's actually like I'm making a joke, but that's what drives me crazy when they're like, oh, they're just flips and they're just blah, blah, blah. Like, no, they like logically know how to build matches. They logically know when to hit dives, why to hit dives, and what is supposed to make sense. The Vikingo being on the ring post and Vikingo and Komander hitting the big running into the Hurricane Rana on the floor is just like, you guys are superheroes. This is so cool. What an amazing display of spot foo and professional wrestling. And only thing that makes me a little bit upset, we're continuing the upset train. Our Ring of Honor World Champion Tag Team Champions are here once again in an 8-man for some reason. I don't know why in the hell you can't just put these guys in a match with another tag team in a damn contenders match or proving ground match, just so we know that these championships exist. The championship, the thing with the Kingdom and the Infantry is talking about the championships more than the damn tag team champions are. What's going on here?
Here's the thing, Reg. It's your fault. Because every time they do this collection of luchador stuff, I put it over, but you put it over harder, and they're like, well, we're just going to do that instead of
he likes that. They like that. Do it again. Yeah, I guess you're right. I do play a part.
This one's on you. This one's on you, guys. Get in your super chats and your humper chats if there's anything that you would like to discuss on air, of course, with this ROH episode, but we're obviously coming out of a big Forbidden Door weekend. We have a pay-per-view that I would love to talk about if you wanted to super chat or humper chat about it, but we don't really have anything leading into it. Of course, the Fight Forever video game is out, and we've got Raityad Red with us, whose music is in it. So feel free to troll them about the spelling error.
My
or
download's at
congratulations.
89% right now for the video game. I'm finally about to be locked in and hear Righteous Reg with my own ears. Righteous Reg himself, my counterpart, Righteous Reg. Very excited about that. So yeah, a lot of very
I'm
exciting
excited for
things.
both of you.
Me and him, me and them, me and they. That's great. Everything is better than this Ring of Honor episode that Kate and I are not very fond of. So
sadly, we are rooting for this as a promotion, but this was not
so hard.
Not great, guys.
The biggest cheerleaders, I'm telling you, and they're just like, you guys, no.
I'm like literally out here doing like toe touches and
Mhm.
pom poms. I'm so behind this brand, but
And they're just throwing popcorn at us.
they're just throwing popcorn at us. We're rooting for the team that's down like 75-0, which was a lot of my high school experience. I wasn't a cheerleader in high school, but our football team was about on par with this. But some good stuff happening on the Impact side of things. After this, you're gonna have Leo Rush showing up in Impact, which is an interesting one, and Nick Aldis also kind of explaining his actions, which I think is fun. I think they know what they're doing with this, what I'm assuming is going to be a transitional title, right? So
Zachary Wentz return. I'm like, all kind of cool stuff's happening on Impact. We should have switched episodes today. You guys cover Ring of Honor, we cover Impact.
You know what? They had a really rough one last week, though, so I think they earned this. They earned this. But the wonderful Cresta star and Joel Pearl, who stole my toothbrush this weekend. I definitely didn't leave it at his house when he was gracious enough to let me crash.
I'll be stealing toothbrushes, Joel. That's weird.
Thank you. Is it a DNA thing? I don't know. I'm nervous now, to be honest. So
weird, Joel.
So
return that.
When we hand this off to them, I need the chat to light up and be like, Joel, why are you stealing Kate's toothbrush? That's some weird shit. So
super weird. Weirdo activity.
Some weirdo activity. I thought they were supposed to be nice. Not stealing my toothbrush. It was a nice one too. It's one of those like the electric ones. Come on.
Oh
man.
wow.
Paid like
crazy
$34 for that.
Down the drain.
God. But guys, we have one champion showing up and doing a promo that makes some freaking sense here with our World Television Champion, Samoa Joe, whose promo was interrupted by Stokely Hathaway. Hathaway might run ROH, but Samoa Joe runs Stokely Hathaway. Samoa Joe's great. I don't know. What do we say? What do we say about this guy? Like him calling him Big Stoke and like putting over the big man was howling at this. He's just so casual and cool. We'll see what comes into play here. The last thing we had kind of set up with him was Zack Sabre Jr., but he's going to have the G1 for this pay-per-view too, right?
Right.
So unless they're taping the pay-per-view ahead, which I don't think they are, since it's in my backyard
so,
and I can't go.
Actually, at this rate, I don't know. They might be. They're like Collision tomorrow, and also Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. Stick around.
We've got a great Death Before Dishonor for you. Stick around after the show. There are some other options out there, right?
Great Death Before Dishonor.
We've got a great Death Before Dishonor. Stick around. It's going to be the best Death Before Dishonor that you've ever seen. We do have some other options, though, right? We've got Mark Briscoe sitting right there.
Yes.
Which is an interesting possibility. We've got Matt Sydal, who was challenging even after his stipulation to challenge didn't work out. Common theme that seems to be emerging that I don't love.
True.
Love this promo from him. With Joe, it's kind of one of those guys where you don't need a ton of build. You could give him a 1 week build, and I'm kind of in between his size and his promo ability. But there are a couple of faint stories in play. What are your thoughts here? I kind of feel like it might be Mark Briscoe, and I kind of feel like maybe Mark Briscoe takes it this time to let Joe kind of move on to Collision. But also, these promotions are touring at the same time, so who knows?
If Samoa Joe's going to need a quick, fast opponent, I think the way that Mark Briscoe built it a couple weeks ago when he was like, I'm still on your ass, Samoa Joe, I thought that was really good. If Samoa Joe's going to lose, I think Mark Briscoe's the guy. If he's going to continue it, maybe like a Kyle Fletcher could be in there. He has gotten a couple of wins. He could be slotted in there real quick, would be a great match, and could take a loss, but still is going to look strong against Samoa Joe. This promo was awesome. Him and Stokely together is a great combination. Samoa Joe is just such a badass, and him just towering over Stokely and Stokely being like, dude, I'm so sorry that I even came in here to talk to you at this. It's just amazing, man. I love it. But I do want to see something good out of Samoa Joe at this pay-per-view that we know nothing about, because he's been on a great run, and they need to build somebody. And they had so many multi-man matches today. I'm like, is anybody even today kind of like, what, maybe Rocky Romero could be slotted in there possibly? I don't know.
I think you're right about Kyle Fletcher, because they made a big deal out of him getting 3 wins against former TV champions on the last episode, which was also in Chicago, as half of this was. They taped half of the episode in Chicago. They got on planes. They went to Toronto. It's a really impressive effort. Or man, I was so frustrated because I'm out here putting over Caprice and Ian all the time because they're fantastic, but they make their announcers look like such idiots.
They do. Yeah.
I was like, oh man, and it's not their fault. It's the editing's fault. Lazy today. But Fletcher's a good choice because it also doesn't hurt him at all. And it probably helps him. And he's just waiting for Mark Davis to get back. So I think that might be a really good direction to go. I think you're right. If he drops it, it's probably to Mark. Everybody's kind of on Samoa Joe's case about this, but really, really fun promo. Samoa Joe's just one of those guys who's so menacing when his voice is quieter, rather than like a guy who's like yelling into the mic in the ring. It's just like, oh my God, I don't want to. Like, controlled Samoa Joe is terrifying.
Yeah, very scary.
I didn't even realize Samoa Joe was 7'3" because Stokely's like 6'8". So I mean, this has got to be
2 tall guys.
That's right. Two big men, right? Maybe it's Stokely. Maybe Stokely's.
Stokely could be the one to take after this. He uses this as motivation to take on Samoa Joe, and he could win. Like, I mean, yeah, Samoa Joe wouldn't take it because he knows that Stokes gonna win if he takes it.
He's like, no. He was like, oh, I can't. No, there's all these other people.
Your management, I would never.
Oh no, you can't be unbiased.
Scared. It's just the truth. I'd be scared too. Stokely's scary, dude.
That is a terrifying man. Okay, you think Sean Ross Sapp is tall with his gimmick? Stokely towers over you. It's like Stokely, huge gap. Will Hobbs as far as intimidation. That's it.
Totally.
That's it. Omos looks up to Big Stokes. See the people in the chat. No, he had to borrow his suit.
It's all a line. All the line is scary, dude. It's Omos, Hobbs, and then Stokely's right up here, way above them.
That's it. Brock Lesnar could never. Could never.
Not in a million years.
No way. Reg, I was going through this Tekker phase, right? You know, I've been very into the technical wrestling. I'm going back and watching Billy Robinson matches. I'm loving getting into this technical side of wrestling. I've moved on.
Oh, that's it.
I've moved on to dancers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm here for the dancers. Daniel Garcia, he's not a wrestler anymore. I'm done. I'm done with that. He's a sports entertainer. You stand on Keith Lee's back and you dance. You're a sports entertainer. You
switched all the way over completely.
I've 180'd it. I'm completely gone. Plus, you got Lee Moriarty and Big Bill also dancing. I'm extremely sports entertained by this.
You know what? Now that I think about it, these guys are sports entertaining with their dancings. Daniel Garcia is just ridiculous. The Forbidden Door, walking through the strikes with it is like, this guy is something else. To take the, like, did he sit down and think, I'm going to get this dance over if I keep doing it? Or was it just like a natural thing that he did it once and he did it and he kept doing it and it worked? I need to get into the mind of Daniel Garcia to figure this out. But it's really great. And yeah, Lee Moriarty's doing the little viral Woody from Toy Story kick dance thing. That's hilarious. Big Bill's getting into a Sean Moore personality the more that he dances. This dancing thing, I think you're on to something.
Yeah.
Technical wrestling shit, that's boring. Dancing, that's it.
We're done. We're done with your stretch mufflers and your cravats. I'm done. I'm here for dancing. You want to do the Macarena? Do the Macarena. See if I can. But I actually really like this. I'm really, really coming around on Big Bill. He has gone from feeling so generic to not just because of the dancing, but in ring, his personality is coming across too. He's kind of elevated in a big way. This match was not a long one, but it was good. I think Bill looked good, not only with his big boot, but we get a nice black hole slam in here. And we get Lee Moriarty keeping the hints of my Tekker love alive with that Border City stretch at the end for the submission. This is a situation where I feel like the borderline squash part of it worked a lot more than in our opener, because I feel like Big Bill and Lee Moriarty are eating up these wins. It feels a little more credible. It was like a nice reminder of how dominant this duo can be. Plus, they danced, and Preston Vance and Dralistico did not dance.
Exactly.
Advantage the dancers. Any thoughts on the match that we got here?
Yeah, fun match. Big Bill every week. His stock rises super high with me. The thing that I like most about this duo is before this, Lee Moriarty was like, I mean, he had some big moments. People were recognizing him, but alongside Big Bill, he's getting a lot of wins. He's consistently being featured on TV, and he just feels like he's presenting as a bigger star than he was previously. I think this has helped him out tremendously. I thought originally when they put them together, it was like, Big Bill, like, what's going on here? But I think they both helped each other a tremendous amount being tag team partners, and their matches are fun. Exactly like you said, there's some technical stuff. Big Bill's choke slamming fools on the apron, power bombing guys. They're dancing. Like, I mean, what else could you want here? It's great.
It's really, really fun stuff. And I do like, because Lee is just so great in the ring, and because Bill needed more dimension to his big guy stuff, this combo has really brought out a lot of fun stuff. I'm digging it. It would be cool if we had tag team champions that were defending their titles and we got to see a program out of it. Just saying.
Baby steps.
Well, other than the proving ground match, here was my second most annoyed thing of the night. We get Caprice Coleman saying, this is going to be a great episode and a great match. In the middle of the episode, clearly, at some point, he thought this was going to be opening the show, but it's the ROH six-man tag team champions, the Embassy, Brian Cage, Toa Leona, and Bishop Khan, versus LIJ, Bushi, Shingo, and Takagi. I'm sorry. Bushi, Shingo Takagi, and Hiromu Takahashi. My notes lines got weird. I was so frustrated by what a simple thing it is to do, then edit that line out. Like when I said lazy at the beginning of the show, this is what I mean. Did you listen to your own damn commentary? Edit this line out.
And I think they do it in post too, is the crazy part. Like a lot of the times they record that in post. So like, what?
Like, you edited this episode together and you didn't catch this? That's like MLW tipping off who their women's champion is before the match stuff that we saw with Taya last week. Like, this is not good. This was so this episode had absolutely no flow to it. And I understand you had like a big weekend, but that means you got to deepen the pool of resources if you're going to be doing this, because man, I don't want to have to sit here and be sour on this. That's a Tuesday night gimmick, but that is like kind of inexcusable when when he says it's going to be a great match and a great episode halfway through. Stuck out like a sore thumb to me, distractingly bad. And again, that ain't Caprice's fault. That's the editing's fault. But cutting to the finish here, we get the Gates of Agony giving Bushi a double team face first slam and getting the pinfall. A couple highlights I'll run down before throwing it over to you, Reg. Takahashi just selling at Brian Cage's big man moves so well, so well in this. We got Khan hitting Takahashi with a senton on the ring apron. I'm told it's the hardest part of the ring by everyone in the world all the time.
True.
But Takahashi countering that with a nice slam attempt on a spinning DDT. We get Cage also taking out Shingo with a power slam and Takahashi with a power bomb at the same freaking time.
Big time.
Very, very fun match, but another one where we don't have a program for these guys. Now, you have LIJ in the house. You're not going to not use them, and they got an enormous pop live. It came across a little bit here, but like live, it was the pop of the night. This finished the episode, finished the first hour, the pre-hour that they do before Collision.
Oh, okay.
And it was just over like Rover the whole time. The crowd was so hot for it, but we're going into a pay-per-view. There's no story for anybody else. There's no angle set up after this out of that. I thought commentary, when edited properly, did a great job explaining the importance of LIJ and how those guys work together and everything. Fun enough match, but what are we doing with all of our titles, Rich?
Nobody has any stakes on anything. It's just like throw this out here. They'll give us kind of things we want. Like they've had the trios champions together, the 6-man tag team champions together for a number of these weeks, but it's like they never defend them. They don't really have anybody that's in contention. I thought that Action Andretti, Darius, and AR Fox were going to be a team, but that's already over. They're moved on to something else. I'm like, what stories are they telling here? The great thing about this is that these are three great contenders. Seeing Shingo against all three other guys on the Embassy side is amazing. Him and Brian Cage would be a really fun one-on-one match. Him against all of them. Takahashi is just amazing in any aspect. Seeing him wrestles is great. It was just unfortunate that those three guys were just negated to this fucking pre-show sadness, whatever Ring of Honor is, because like you were saying, they got a big pop. People really cared about them. They wanted to see them. We, for a couple of months, talked about Shingo wrestling in a big match, like, oh, maybe he'll wrestle Swerve, maybe he'll do this, maybe he do this, and then he's like, not. And it's just like, that's unfortunate. And then it's attached to this 6-man thing where it doesn't really matter. It's just a pre-show match, pretty much. They treat the tapings like pre-shows now. This is all very unfortunate. Save Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor doesn't deserve this.
It really doesn't. And the other thing that I kept going back to was this is the most expensive wrestling to pay for from a subscription standpoint. And that is not a good sign.
Yes.
If I'm paying $9.99 a month for this, but Dynamite is included in my cable package and Impact is like $1, and I don't know what MLW is because what I'm not saying with NWA, but Peacock's $5 and I get every WWE Premium Live event on there. This is not
and
good.
Independent wrestling companies are charging $10. You get High Spots or IWTV or Fight Plus. That's way more valuable than this one Thursday Ring of Honor show. If that's, if you just care about wrestling, like I'm gonna get a thing that I could watch 20 other shows included, so.
Agreed. And it's frustrating because you also don't get you used to get breaks on the pay-per-views too financially. We don't get that anymore. So the lack of effort proportionate to what they're expecting people to pay for it, it's disappointing, man. I gotta say, like, I've been trying to be patient with it. I've kept extending kind of what my faux deadline in my head was, because I felt like after the last pay-per-view, I was like, all right, we're going to get clarity. And we didn't get it, but we got the Collision announcement. I was like, okay, after Collision setup, we'll get roster clarity. We're not, because they're touring together. So it just feels like a big old mess. But that's what's up, guys. It's costing us money. We haven't gotten nearly as many super chats and humper chats because there's nothing to talk about.
Right. I'm like, now you guys are costing us money.
Now you're costing us
You're
money.
out of here.
Put us out of a job when we're trying to review your show, man. But Chris sending in a chat saying,
I am
to me,
focus some angry text messages later today to some people.
That's right. And those people are Jerry Lynn and not anybody named Will.
You're going down. Jerry Lynn and Stokely Hathaway. I'm going to tear you guys apart. Don't you worry about it.
That's right. You are the stakeholders we are going after. But Chris saying, to me, focus for Tony, AEW, and ROH is an afterthought. Yeah, that's what it feels like. And the fact that what felt like, I keep using the word lazy because when the in-ring is that high and there's just no support around it, that does feel lazy to me. Because
I think we just have to accept that this is AEW Dark as a subscription service show.
I will not do that. I refuse. I will cry about it every week. But I will say, I said at the beginning of this episode, I feel like it was their worst one. It correlated with Forbidden Door, right? Like, it feels like the resources are being allocated toward what's probably the show of the year. That makes sense. But deep in the well, you know what? You got Reg over here. He's out here making CM Punk cry. He's out here being the media man. He's already like besties with Willow Nightingale. Like, you just hire him to run ROH. Who cares?
I can do this, Tony Khan. I promise you. that you would be. I'll use the same thing. We could be on the road like you did, but there's a couple things that you could change to make this worthwhile. We could be filming right after Collision, before Collision, whenever you want, but a couple of things changed would make this worth it.
I always get frustrated. This is what I get annoyed with in WWE world, is because they show you they can do it and then that they actively choose not to. The Stu Grayson story fucking rules. It's excellent. You've shown me you can do it. You're just opting not to. So show me.
And the Athena story, for the most part, when they're not doing really squashes, you're showing us that you could tell great stories over here. What the hell's happening?
And the thing is, realistically, she should have squashes. But because there's no other champions around, it feels like all of the weight and the pressure of important feeling things is on her. So she's like not entitled to that. But she's the type of champion that should be having squashes.
Totally.
Well, here's something I had like no complaints about. We got Willie Mack versus Despy, and holy,
this is tight.
This ruled. Despy got a huge reception when he came out, which made me very, very, very happy. As did Willie Mack. I said, if you ask Joel, I said it like 3 times a day all weekend. But I did say quite a few times that the big stage, the like double or nothing stage that they have for Collision, makes a huge difference to the live show. When you have people that like have presentations and care about their entrances, something when Despy came out and that background hit was just like, he feels like such a superstar walking in here. It was so much fun. His gear is cool. He, in this, showed to me like just a top tier counter wrestler, like such creative counters at a lot of this match. But ultimately we get Despy pulling Mack into a backslide to kind of throw him off his game a little bit and catching him with the Pinche Loco, which is essentially a double underhook face buster to get the win. Some fun spots in here. I mean, just unreal counter wrestling. A lot of working over Willie Mack's leg, which is nice to see. I know I said I'm like out of my Tekker era, but if you're not going to dance, this is like a pretty good strategy, right? You isolate a body part and you go after it. I loved Willie Mack calling for the brainbuster, but Desperado escaping and drop kicking Mack's leg again. Really, really working that over, really getting an in-match story, since Lord knows ROH isn't giving us any stories. We both parental finger wags. Parental finger wags from both of us. I love it. This match was amazing. Willie Mack looked great. Despy just had an answer for everything that he threw out here. But like, I feel like Despy in the past year or so has really transformed into like a much more violent wrestler. And Willie Mack having so much size but being so athletic was such a fun combination of attributes in the ring. What were your thoughts of this?
This was really surprising because, you know, like we talked about previously, the show has been going on for a while and they've been switching between crowds and different things. But the crowd got really loud and they were really live for this match here specifically. Desperado is maybe the most unexpected as how over he was. Like, you know, it's just like, you expect these guys to be over, and Okada and Tanahashi and all these people are here, but then he gets this huge reception and you're like, well, this is kind of crazy. And since he's kind of converted more to being that deathmatch style, he's just grown bigger fan base, which is awesome. And Willie Mack is like, it's just so great every week to see it. I thought that him joining Ring of Honor was going to be great for what he does, and the crowd is getting exactly what Willie Mack is. They like understand him 100% when he does his Samoan drop, kip up, moonsault. So it's like, this is it. We love Willie Mack. He's the greatest, and his attitude, he comes out, and it's just like, it's such a perfect match for the spirit of this damn show when it is this damn show. A match like this, the crowd's into it. Both these guys are very fun wrestlers. Like, I like this a lot.
Yeah, I think Despy picked up a lot of momentum coming out of the New Japan Juniors too. Like there was just had a really, really, really strong showing. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for him because he's just great and really found what clicks for him the most. I'm rooting for that guy. Like
him and Moxley are going to be in the ring together. What, next weekend?
And I think we're getting Shingo and Eddie Kingston, right? Holy hell, that's going to be nasty.
That's in the G1. Yeah, that's
looking forward
I
to
just
our
can't.
G1.
I'm so excited about that match. It's gonna be fire.
I am too. I'm on such a New Japan. I feel like New Japan's on such an upswing, and it like makes me so happy because the things that were weighing it down felt very much out of their control. So to see the circumstances flip in their favor and then just go, we're in star making mode. We've got a title for Zack Sabre Jr. We've got Despy on this run, and we might actually do something with Naito in the G1. Like there's a lot of fun stuff, and the Bullet Club feeling like a real threat again. I'm not even the biggest Finley gal, but man, you recruit Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors into something. I am there for it. Good stuff. Good stuff in New Japan World. And speaking of New Japan World, we get Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta defeating Sho and Yujiro Takahashi. The finish here being Romero taking out Sho with a dive, and Beretta and Romero combining for the strong zero on Takahashi to get the pinfall. Kind of an upset, I think that's fair to say, but some fun spots in here. Takahashi hitting that top rope fisherman's buster on Beretta. Whew, I thought we might have been going home on that. I kind of bit at that one. And there was just a really nice deadlift suplex from Sho in here. My heart misses Sho and Yo. I really liked them together, and I don't like House of Torture. I think everything is overbooked, and it is not for me. Post-match, we get Orange Cassidy running down to make the save.
There he is again.
You know what, though? This one I'm a little more okay with because, of course, House of Torture. If you're not familiar with House of Torture, this is what they do. But a very fun match here. We've traveled all over the world for this episode of ROH. This was a fun one. What do you think of the match we got here?
This was a badass New Japan Juniors IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team match style fight here in Ring of Honor. Really fun stuff between both tag teams. Seeing Rocky and Trent together has been great. I've loved pretty much Rocky's been like full time. It feels like in AEW and Ring of Honor, and all the stuff that he's doing just shows how great of a wrestler he really is beyond the being a great ambassador for professional wrestling. So seeing him here and seeing them get the win is really cool. It really would be good if that was some tag team championships that they could go for one day, but things are how they are. Really fun tag team match though to round out this New Japan weekend. I really liked how they utilized most of the New Japan guys. That was kind of the bright spot in this show.
Agreed. Yeah, and this is an episode. If it wasn't 3 weeks before a pay-per-view, you would almost forgive some of the lack of story because you just want to see LIJ, you want to see Despy, but the rest of the product has felt so lost. This was a real bummer. And speaking of bummers, what the hell is Christopher Daniels doing with Darius and Andretti? What
Andrade?
Andrade. Might as well be, because what the hell is this? Christopher Daniels, who has been Matt Seidel's tag team partner, fills in for a missing AR Fox for no reason, who has been establishing a trio with Darius and Andretti. This was so dumb, but a fun match against United Empire. Yes. Daniels catching TJP with a forearm in the corner, and Andretti and Martin giving TJP a double team slam to get the upset pinfall here. Some highlights for me. Just Jeff Cobb. I don't know what else to say, but this guy is ridiculous.
Jeff Cobb was there.
There was like a spot on the outside where he caught CD and moved him from like a press to a suplex to whatever the hell got him back in the ring. It was ridiculous. This guy's ridiculous and so agile in the ring. I love the handoff spot with the stalling suplex to Kyle Fletcher. Mark Davies does it. We had Jeff Cobb pinch hitting there as well. I thought that was a super fun spot. And Kyle Fletcher's just so sneaky strong. What did you think of this match other than the fact that it was dumb that it happened and this shouldn't be a trio that we ever see on television again?
I'm going to shoot them some bail. I think AR Fox is on his wedding anniversary. I saw some pictures of him and his wife on a beach having a good time. So yeah, and also maybe he potentially can't get over the border. That could be just something I'm speculating on also. But yeah, there's a reason why AR Fox wasn't a part of this. A couple of reasons why. So it is what it is. That's the only bail I'm going to shoot him for this. But
All
yeah,
right,
still
we'll give
kind of
it a pass.
confusing as to why it's Christopher Daniels there. Still a tag match if you're gonna do like it makes them seem like some whores just going through all these different tag team partners. Every different week they got a new tag team partner. They're out here just like, please, sir, will you please join us for a tag team match? Please, like, why are you guys out of these different partners, man? This is craziness out here. But yeah, seeing Jeff Cobb's amazing. The way that he
Unreal.
just spins and destroys people. His look, the way he comes out, stocky guy, just badassery. I'm telling you guys,
Refrigerator. Like this guy
he's
is just
insane, man.
crazy.
And then when you see him move, you're like, well, he don't move like a refrigerator. That's for damn sure. Just such a
Okay.
great professional wrestler, man. He's super cool. And did the ending, the finish look kind of weird? It was like they were like 1, 2, 3, and then like they looked like they looked confused, but it looked like that was the ending. I was like, what's going on here? This is weird.
Yeah, it was a little wonky. I don't know what happened. It almost felt miscommunicative. Like
Right.
it didn't feel like they switched the ending, but like that's not
Mm-hmm.
what was supposed to maybe be the go home spot. But
Mm-hmm.
wish it went on a minute longer so that our match with the proving ground match could have just been a damn proving ground match. But guys, we are coming down the home stretch. 2 quick matches and then we'll get out of here. But stay tuned for the Impact post show. You had Lio Rush showing up today.
They
Wherever
had the
that guy goes, my goodness, putting on a banger. Absolutely love to see it. Our friend SP3 from True Heel Heat saying that he thinks TJP forgot to kick out, which would have made sense.
Oh yeah.
Because why would they air the promo with United Empire challenging the Embassy?
Right. That was so weird. I'm like,
touche.
what happened here?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because nothing on the show made any sense in the way that it got aired. But we move along to the squashiest squash of all time. Athena winning with a forearm over Casey Spinelli, who I believe we got to see at Girls Next Door, which Joel can mention on air and put over better than I can. But Casey Spinelli was there. She gets a smooshed spot here. This match had so much interest that Ian Riccaboni and Caprice spent most of it talking about Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas for some reason. So a forearm here, but I love the post-match Athena just attacking Spinelli with a drop kick, keeping her vicious streak alive. And I love the way commentary continues to talk about what a great fighting champion she is and how dominant she is and how good she is for women's wrestling, and then condone the actions when she does stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. But this was what it was. This was also a proving ground match that managed to keep all its stipulations, so I don't have to be mad about that. But any thoughts on our smoosh squash here?
I went to go get a drink of water at the time, and I came back and it was over. I was like, oh, one of those matches. And like when I was there, like you said, I heard him talk about Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson. What's going on over here? Like, why is this happening? What's Athena doing? But yeah, exactly what you're saying is really good. How they're like, no, she's a great champion. She has all this, she's all this. But the after match stuff is just awful. They're terrible. They reprimand her for being an awful person. But that's part of the game, man. Send her some real competition. You see what she does when y'all don't send her real competition. She beats them up really bad, and it's sad for the person. You don't want to see this, but y'all got to give her something. Who's Athena going to wrestle at this pay-per-view? Who's being set up, Kate?
I'm wondering if it's Billy Starks. In her backyard a little bit. I think it could be good. I think they may run that one back. Okay. Also could be Diamante. She's scoring some wins.
Diamante.
Yeah, that would be my choice if I could pick one. But I think they're due to maybe give Billy the graphic and do a proper like, hey, you lost, but you won a contract kind of thing. So we'll see if and when that happens. Diamante from a wins perspective, I think is the gal. I'll also quickly plug I had an interview with Trisha Dora from that Girls Next Door card. We might see her around a little bit more because she finished her New Japan camp and had wonderful things to say about it. She's so great. It was so wonderful to talk to her. And she had some choice words for Mr. Darius Carter as well. So that made me very happy to see. Put him over, but she's holding on to that Pan-African Championship, if you ask me. So that brings us to our main event, guys. Get in your super chats and your humper chats. We've got one about the video game that we will talk about shortly after, but you've got Claudio Castagnoli defeating Chuck Taylor, which means you absolutely did not have to do what you did with this proving ground match. It is so stupid. And to make me not enjoy a Claudio Castagnoli match, you really got to go out of your way, man. I am so in on this guy. He's amazing. A really good match. We end up with Castagnoli hitting a clothesline into the Rico Laban to get the pinfall. Really liked Chuck Taylor's flatliner and Koji clutch sequence in here. He also had a stiff-looking pile driver. Good stuff. Don't know why we went out of our way to do this with the Proving Ground stuff. Makes no sense. Frustratingly so. But a good match in a sea of things that didn't make sense. It's kind of our ROH episode tonight, to be honest.
Right.
What were your thoughts on our main here?
This was a fun main event, though. I mean, beyond the Claudio taking the stipulation and saying it's dumb and doing it anyways, it's still Claudio and Chuck Taylor. They rehashed a couple of their Chikara things. We know that they've had a long storied history together, and it was good to see Chuck kind of in that element. He's been doing a lot of tag team and multi-man matches with the best friends, and to see him go in here and just get to tear it up with Claudio, who has been on a great run of kind of singles matches here when he does get to kind of get away from the other BCC members. So this is great. There was great spots with Chuck hitting the topes and everything, and Claudio just tearing him up, being Claudio, being a dominating champion. But yeah, the whole stipulation thing that you're upset about is for good reason. It's like, why were you guys, what was the point of that if you were just going to do this? You could have just did that still, but.
Because as we found out, Claudio likes to lie to us specifically.
Liar.
Big liar. But we got a chat from Shea Monster, who mercifully says, some non-ROH for the chat. Fight Forever has brick phone fused into my brain, so thanks to Righteous Reginald.
Righteous.
He just said so thanks, Reg, but I had to do that.
No, thank you guys for real. It's been amazing. I've been getting a lot of messages and things on Twitter and Instagram of people being like, your song's on there. I love it. It's stuck in my head, or whatever you guys are saying. Feels amazing. It feels the best thing that I've ever experienced. About to play this game very soon here and hear it with my own ears. So this is an exciting day. A dream that I never really thought could come true. Came true, man.
Like, look at where you were a year ago. Look at where you are now. This is so exciting. I'm going to throw this out there. I want to collab with you and Victor Taylor Perry. How about that?
That would be dope.
That'd be sick, right?
I'm in on very dope.
Saying that if Kota Bushi is created, we need the Kamakoye. Yeah. I'm very intrigued to see that piece of it, because it seems like a lot of it has been, the focus has been on like the in-game play. I'm not a video game gal, so I don't fully care. They've gotten away from the graphics, but what is this? Everyone says it's like No Mercy, which is what everybody like loved, which I think is cool. We've got some love in the chat for you too. This is awesome. I didn't look at the track listing, but I did immediately recognize Reg's voice when the song hit. I love it.
That is me. That is my voice.
It is.
Those are my raps.
So cool. So cool.
No, thank you guys for real. Keep playing and keep telling me that you're enjoying it, because it makes me feel very good.
There you go. Well,
oh my God, can I have your autograph, Righteous Red? Oh my God.
Better episode tonight. For sure. ROH stunk. But Impact
had a lucky team that got to see a good wrestling show, it sounds like.
Flip-flop, man. We flip-flopped. Last week was not our week. This week was a very good week. Hey, how was Gringo Loco versus Komander versus Vikingo? Did they do that match again?
No, they were involved in an 8-man tag. Or were you there? Are you clowning?
I'm clowning.
He's clowning a little bit, because when we were there live, Joel was like,
"Don't come in here with your toothbrush still and ass." With
thank you, Red. Thank you,
on, Joel.
That's my co-host.
I do want to point out that those three are currently working 45 minutes apart, because at the Hamilton collision tapings, no spoilers, Komander and Gringo Loco are having a match. And then in Toronto at Demand Lucha, it's a 3-way with Vikingo, Speedball, and I forget who the third man is right now, brother, but I got to look it up. Either way, that's kind of how close they all are. Oh, Jack Cartwheel's the third.
They get paid by the match, not by the hour, baby.
Exactly.
That's right. Well, we did not have a ton of fun with ROH. We were mostly kind of just like, about
Bunch
it.
of groans. Mm-hmm.
Just like a not very strong episode.
Funny guy, Tony Khan.
This was what it was, but
Funny guy.
Wait, how'd you guys get demonetized this time around? Wow.
I don't know
Very
what you're talking
funny.
about. That was a Pocky stick.
that's right.
Exactly.
That's
Mhm.
right.
Get it
Yo,
right.
Joe Pearl, you're the biggest hater in the business. You're such a heel.
Look, man,
You don't
just 'cause
deserve
I'm
Cresta.
just because I'm gonna beat up Frank the Clown doesn't mean that I'm the biggest hater.
Wow.
You're a toothbrush stealing hater, is what you are, Joel Pearl.
You scared Steve Macklin out of the Impact World Championship, and
Right.
now you're gonna beat up Frank the Clown, Joel?
Telling you, man, I'm coming for all of
I
these.
thought
All your
Canadians
takes.
were nice. Joe Pearl
thought
every
so
day proving
too.
the opposite. Every day.
Wow.
I ain't Canadian no more. I will keep my free health care, but I will not
Yes.
stop the trash talk.
Oh, you coming proud to be an American.
No, never. Please don't. You don't want this.
No,
ROCK.
You don't want these
Yeah,
problems,
Joel.
Joel. Promise.
Get it.
I'm good.
I'm only feeling a little bit patriotic because, oof, that Nick Aldis ending promo. Oh, brother. This guy stinks. I normally like Nick Aldis, but I felt like, oh, the British are coming. Get this guy. And
Ooh.
the Impact faithful were with
Yeah.
me with that. Get this guy off the stage.
Aldis
Clean
doing
shaven
his church
Cresta is
moves.
not here for Nick Aldis.
Mm-mm.
I was gonna wear a mustache, but instead of having it fall off, you can't fall off if you're not there. It's invisible.
True.
Emperor's New Groove.
So until we get Cresta Luhu.
Mhm.
Cresta Luhu.
Mhm.
You
Big
look
fan.
great
I mean,
as always.
We'll
What a
take
babe.
it. I would helicopter, but it's not built like that. It's built different.
It's built different.
It's built different, not built like that. It's just built. I look like a perfume bottle, not Wendy.
You are.
I thought you had a
amazing.
Barbie standing up on top of your head. I'm like, she's in promotion mode right now.
That's right. Yeah, everything is Barbie.
So I
Love
think
it.
what's really funny about like you guys not enjoying ROH this week was that so Kate and I were there for the tapings, and the matches we saw were like by and large pretty good. So like,
Yeah.
what the hell happened?
Well, the in-ring is never the issue with the ROH, right? Like it's always
Oh,
world-class
this is
in-ring.
Sour Graps thing, isn't it? This is gonna turn into an NXT review.
Damn.
hope not.
Joel, I jokingly tweeted that about like it felt like NXT without the Skittles vomit logo and the backstage
Damn.
high school play. Like
It's
there's
$10
just-
AEW Dark, pretty much.
Yeah, and there's.
How do you
there's-
really feel? Jesus Christ.
I mean,
I mean, we're 3 weeks away from a pay-per-view, and our champions don't have any stories. Like
y'all are
it's
scamming.
it's a bummer.
Not
It's a
scamming.
bummer. But
That's fair. I get it. I mean, listen.
not all of us have it like a TV special every other week. Okay, like some.
Yes, exactly. There's all Impact. You can't take that away from. There's always some stakes. There's always building to something. Shit.
It's true. We got 2 weeks till Slammiversary, so I'll take that.
Even if it's like a Maple Wings
Oh.
former goalie is tag teaming today, you still put stakes on it. So
I
God
feel
bless
like
you.
you
Yes,
said a
some
bunch of
stakes in
Canadian
there.
things together and said championship. I can't have. Let's go.
Technically there's a special tomorrow and Saturday because they're down in Australia. I ain't covering
Oh,
that.
that's right.
Oh
But
no,
it's
me and
in
Joel are
existence.
going to be like this. Me. That's not happening.
I ain't doing no
Are
five.
these going to be broadcasted or are they just tapings?
They're on Fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're gonna air. I think at like 5 in the morning.
5 a.m.
Eastern
Eastern
time.
Standard Time.
There you go.
Yeesh.
Yowzer. Well, I do have to laugh because Joel said he was becoming an American, but immediately said, "I'm sorry." So didn't quite make the jump.
Followed it right back. You're gonna have to
Told
work
you.
on that.
I'm keeping the healthcare. I'm just gonna, do the other. Well, I'm not even gonna do the gun thing. I'm not gonna do that.
Please, no, please.
You know,
I don't
listen,
So we got enough of
the
that.
quote Little Uzi Vert, this ain't what you want. This ain't what you want.
No.
Facts.
No, just fly me in and out. Let me do gigs. That's all.
Fair.
Mhm.
Well, we will let you get your review underway. I'm glad you guys got a better episode than last week. We are the sour ones today, but we will throw it over to you. Have an awesome show. Reg, anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yes,
Right,
fight
Chad?
forever, everybody. Play my music, play my songs. This weekend, Grapsody, that's a show that I'm on. And then I'm on the Money in the Bank post show this weekend with Denise also too. So that should be fun. Really fun things coming up this weekend, you guys.
You and Denise are besties now.
We going at it. We getting after it, getting money.
I love it.
Red covering Money in the Bank where Logan Paul wins the briefcase should be a
It's gonna
hoot.
be crazy, Kate. I know.
my
Yeah,
God.
I know.
Do not
I
put that
know.
into
He ain't winning.
existence, my
Yeah.
God.
Oh, it's a marketing wizard. Are you kidding? He's gonna go
He's
around to every
winning.
stupid talk show with that thing.
I
He's
don't.
gonna have that
I'm going to
briefcase
disconnect from this call right now.
on Impulsive. Is that what his show's called? Impulsive with the briefcase? It's happening.
I think people are overthinking the buzzworthiness that this doesn't create. Bad
I
Bunny,
mean,
God
to
bless
be
Bad
fair,
Bunny.
even if he wins, who is he going to cash in on? I want you to cash in on Roman, and I want you to get pinned in a crumbling bloodline.
Yeah, but it'll be Seth. This is a WWE show anyway, but let Reg and Denise hash it out on Saturday at Money in the Bank.
I'll talk about it.
I'll
Yeah.
talk about it.
Mhm,
Exactly.
mhm.
I'll be
And-
talking about it on Fightful Select, so you can join me over there at Miss Kate Fabe on Twitter. Right, Chad Reg, follow him and enjoy the rest of this post show with the Impact crew.
Peace, y'all.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, here we go. Hi, Cresta Star. How are you?
Hi. What a decent episode. I had a lot of fun watching Impact this evening. I think I can zoom out just a little bit.
I think so too. Let's zoom out a little bit too. Make myself look presentable. Presentable.
Presentable, babes. Let's
What?
go, love.
What's my hair doing? It doesn't matter. Looks
Listen,
good, right?
I don't never know what my hair is doing. What is this bang?
Oh God, yeah, it's a good episode tonight. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like, even in the end, it was still good because I turned my brain off.
You turned your brain off. Oh man, I love this. There was a super chat earlier from a guy saying we need a special sour grabsity in the life. I thought that was just fantastic.
That would be a funny sour grab. I would watch that. I would
I
get a
would-
good cackle at 11 in the morning.
Shall we get to it?
Let's go.
For the audio folks. And a 1 and a 2. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com. It's time for your Impact Wrestling post show for June 29th, 2023. I am Actual Pearl. And as always, my number one, my ride or die, the one who is not Kate, thank the Lord. Cresta Stars here. How you doing, Cresta?
I am doing fantastic. Impact tonight gave me life. As we said in the transition, for those of you who didn't hear, I thought that the main event promo, I was with the crowd, get Nick Aldis out of here. But when I said I turned my brain off, it made sense. You want to go into it as a heel because if you pin Alex Shelley, it makes sense. You can't be a face and pin Alex Shelley. That's just not going to happen. He's loved by everybody.
And on top of that, when we get to it and we talk about the main event promo, this is perfect for Nick Aldis. He, as a heel, listen, when he came into Impact, people were excited, and then very quickly they were like, we don't want to see him beat Steve Macklin either. And
Yeah.
to preserve Steve Macklin, they got the title off of him, turned Aldis heel. Now Macklin is doing his stuff with Bully Ray. That's not important right now. But instead, they're going to get Shelley and Aldis is very firmly a heel. And that's knowing how to cater to an audience, in my opinion. And again, could have been in the cards the entire time, but I think if they did have to pivot, knowing that Aldis wasn't going to be the super happy, hot heel that they wanted, this is a good way to use him. I'm much happier with this one.
I loved it. It really was. The British are coming. Boo, get this guy off the stage. This guy stinks. It was good. It was good. If you overthought it, I can understand why you didn't like it. But stop thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And as always, folks, you can leave a thumbs up here on the video. And of course, subscribe here to Fightful.com and on YouTube.com/Fightful. Fightful Select, of course, is the best $5 in the business. We'll talk about that one later. And if you want to support us here right now, live in the chat, you can go ahead and drop a super chat. Any amount, get your question statement read on the air, or you can go to humperchats.com where Cresta will tell you the rest.
You take your fingers and you type on your keyboards, humperchats.com. You write a comment like, hey, Joe Pearl, how come Scott D'Amore didn't mention you during his promo? You're his son. You leave that for us. We'll read your comment. Any dollar amount, get your comment read on air, rather. And it keeps the lights on. It keeps us happy. We keep a little bit more happy. It keeps Sean Ross Sapp happy. Everyone's happy. Humperchats.com. No bing bong for your ding dong.
No? Well, I mean, the latter don't sponsor this show. The Bing, I was going to do the Bing because we got Arthur Ashe Stadium coming up in September, and I'm debating if I'm going to come or not. Which is another thing, by the way. If they sponsored us, I'd be able to use the thing.
You know what? I'm in New York City. Arthur Ashe is right in the backyard. Yeah, Fightful meetup. I'm kidding.
We'll see. We'll figure it out. We got a lot of time before then. But for now, we should go ahead, talk about the Impact Wrestling, shouldn't we?
Yes, let's start with the BTI with your favorite, George Iceman.
George Iceman is here, and of course, he's talking about Nick Aldis's actions were despicable. What was he thinking? Is there someone behind this? And by the way, I like that he said that, because some news that dropped on Fightful Select might lead you to the answer to that question. Talk about that in a few minutes. He says, Nick Aldis might address the Impact Zone tonight. And of course he does. But what's more important is the match that came after it. Cresta star.
5 stars. The best match. I popped so hard. Upset this wasn't the main event on the main card. Ridiculous. I need to talk to someone's manager.
You should talk to Zicky Dice. He was the referee.
He did his job. He did his job.
Well,
I don't care.
Clearly not well enough. Swingman takes on Bhupinder Gujar. Referee Zicky Dice pushing Swingman down to the ring. Hell yeah. Listen, Zicky Dice gives a hell of a thorough pat down. You ever been to an airport and had yourself patted down to that degree, Cresta?
I feel like that violates something, but no. I mean, like, you do make a good point. He made sure Bhupinder was not going to pull any shenanigans for a fair fight.
And a fair fight it was not.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Swingman takes advantage early. It's a quick 5 count, which he goes 1, 2, 3. And, Anyway, Swingman low blows Gujar while Dice isn't looking. I do like that they're cutting away to commentary throughout this match. I don't know if that was like a footage issue in post-production, but either way, I do like them kind of spying on commentary every once in a while. It's good stuff. Zicky Dice starts yelling some spots louder than John Cena does, which of course sets up Gujar for the gargoyle spear. Zicky Dice gets in the way, says he can't do that, which he clearly can. Gujar puts his hand on Zicky Dice. Swingman rolls up Gujar for the 1, 2, 3 in that order, and then this is my favorite part. The match is over. That's fine. Tom Hannafin throws it back to Josh Matthews in the control studio. And he says, wearing whatever mismatched shirt and tie he's wearing, and then calls Josh Matthews a former Impact Grand Champion, which if you know anything about Impact's championships, the Grand Championship was like the worst championship. It was just not a good title. But Josh Matthews held it once upon a time. So did Eli Drake at one point. But that's not important. Yeah. Anyway, that set me. It was good. What did you think of the match?
It was a great match. I don't know what anyone was talking about with Zicky Dice's officiating, whatever. I also want to highlight Gia Miller saying, where did the crowd chants of this ref sucks. And then she said, license to drive a sandwich. Gia Miller. I just be saying stuff, but you also just be saying stuff. I like this. For a comedy match, it does exactly what it needs to do. When I first started watching, I was like, I didn't get the Johnny Swinger thing. And Joel, you kept putting them over. And now I'm a believer. I feel like at this point, reward the Swinger fans. Reward us. Come on.
We'll just get right into it. Later on in the BTI follow-up segment, Swingman and Zicky Dice roll into the celebration station, and Swingman's like, get a marker, we need to change this up. And now, it's now 49 or whatever it was, they're ad-libbing. And then in comes referee Daniel Spencer, and he says, I saw the match. I spoke with Santino. The match doesn't count. And then Zicky was told that if he does it again, he'll lose his referee license. So, hey, Cresta, could be over before you even think it started.
I think that it might be time for Johnny Swinger to get smart Mark Sterling, because this is systemic. This is ridiculous. And maybe Bully Ray and Nick Aldis are onto something about unfair working conditions, because I saw a fair match. I don't know what you guys say or see or saw. I also have glaucoma, so I saw a fair match.
Yeah, I feel like that last part kind of told the story. Let's jump into Impact main show. Opening up the matches, I should say, the X Division Championship on the line. Trey Miguel defends against Chris Sabin. Listen, this was a good match. This is a good back and forth match. Honestly, doesn't even matter. As they get to the end, Sabin's rolling into the STF on Trey and then gets him into the cradle shock position when in comes Zachary Wentz. Now, you may have remembered Nash Carter from NXT, who was released not too long ago, and, well, he's back in Impact. The Rascals are back together. At least 2 out of 3 of them are. The third one is currently the NXT North American champion. But either way, Zach Wentz shows up. He beats down on Chris Sabin, and then Trey Miguel gets into it as well. Rascals are reunited. Cresta star. That makes me feel good. What do you think of the match, and how are you feeling about Wentz and Miguel reuniting?
So in my little blips of watching Impact before, I definitely remember the Treehouse. I definitely remember the Rascals. I am quite happy for Zachary Wentz. Is that how you say? Yes, Zachary Wentz. Make sure I wrote that, because I wanted to say Nash Carter. Not to say that I want Wesley to come back, because I think he's quite happy, or maybe he's doing well for himself, but I wouldn't be opposed to a Rascals reuniting. I will also say that I saw on Twitter, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I don't know which one of them tweeted it, but someone said Rascals forever. And I was like, that's curious. And now it's all coming together. I'm not mad at it. It brings an extra layer to the tag division. And now there's not 3 of them. So I guess it's just very straight up, straightforward. I don't speak really too much about backstage stuff. And his whole release was messy and muddy. So I'm glad that he's got work. I'm happy that he's working, So good for him.
Yes, Chad, I am aware that Myron Reed is also a member of the Rascals, but guess who never showed up on Impact Wrestling as a member of the Rascals? The aforementioned Myron Reed. Shout out to him, though. He's great. So we have Trey and Wentz back together, and backstage they say it's been 3 years since the Rascals have set foot in Impact. Let me reintroduce you to Zachary Wentz. And Wentz says it was the fans who abandoned Trey Miguel, and then they abandoned Zach Wentz while he went through hell, which honestly kind of plays into what Cresta was just saying, stuff that he went through. And then he says now it's only right that the Rascals take what's there. And I like this. I like serious Rascals. I think that's going to rule. If they do the Treehouse, I hope they're just obnoxious about it. But at the end of the day, I want a Rascals tag team that are serious about taking those Impact tag titles and give people a run for their money. I'm into it. What do you think?
Yeah. Trey Miguel is a fantastic and has been doing fantastic in the X division. I'm not too familiar with Nash Carter, Zachary Wentz's in ring. So I would be quite interested to see how it works, to see how he works rather. But I know from everyone's mouth that the Rascals was one of the acts of Impact. Like you would tune in to see them. And LOL, pothead jokes are funny. And maybe this brings back Rob Van Dam to be their their leader, their seance leader.
Don't know about that. But either way, this is a really good opportunity. I don't know if they'll play into the Slammiversary match, because there is a 4-way that was announced, including I'm not even gonna go off the top of my head. I just know two of the teams, because they're the ones that matters, and that's the tag champs ABC, Ace of Base, and of course Moose and Myers, who are going to pin Rich Swann, because he's teaming with Sami Callihan, and whoever the 4th team is, they are also going to be a part of this whole thing.
Damn, Joel. I do wonder about the Rascals and ABC, because they were all in Impact at the same time, maybe not together as a team, but definitely Ace Austin was. So I would like to see the interaction between the Rascals now and ABC, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, now that they're in a team and a part of Bullet Club.
4th team is Subculture, who are coming back from the UK. Somebody told them Windsor, and they thought that they were talking about Essex. So this is another.
Got him ×2. Got him every time. I
don't know what happens. Every time they keep mentioning these UK names.
Like it would just go down the road to Canada.
You put your king on your money. It's all the same. I guess it's the queen at the time. I think it's like 2 years until the King's going to be on our money. And it's not important. We're just talking now. Dobby the Brain Heenan sends a super chat saying the tag division sure seems like it's getting a whole lot deeper with this reunion, and it's the other 4 teams in the Slammiversary 4-way for the titles. It's getting deeper. I like where we're going with the tag division. It's needed a restacking, which you and I have talked about quite a bit, and getting Trey away from the X division for now is a good call, and putting him in the tag division, which needs it, is good, because he is a versatile performer, and bringing back Wentz into the fold only helps when it comes to just impact originality.
Plus, it avoids Franken teams. It gives authenticity to a tag team. Like, I think Speedball and Gresham would be a great tag team, and Sammy and Swan have been teamed together, but they're not really. You're not really a team until you got a name like the K or the Rascals. So I don't hate it. Not to say I don't hate it. I don't hate them, like when you're Franken teaming it, but I'd be more behind a team like the Rascals if they want it, Aces of Bays if they want it, the Good Hands if they want it. You're at least a team. I've seen you perform together. You're not just 2 guys thrown together.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on. Trinity and Jay Vidal. Deonna Purrazzo's out here on commentary, and she's actually really good about this. We'll talk about that in a second. But of course, Trinity always wanted to do an intergender match. She's mentioned that in interviews, and here we are. A big fan of that. She's getting her wish. Big reaction for Trinity in Atlanta, which I love. People were really into her. And of course, Jay Vidal then slaps Trinity like she owes him money. So
that's true.
Yeah, and then a big dropkick self from Vidal. There's some good selling in this match. I like it. Good back and forth. Someone recently put over Jay Vidal to me, and I was just like over the moon happy that they did that, because Jay's got so much potential, and I'm looking forward to seeing him continue to progress. I mentioned Deonna Purrazzo on commentary. She says all the ways that she can take out Trinity at Slammiversary, taking out the arms, taking out the legs, mentioning her power moves, all this stuff. And then, of course, Trinity does the Heat Seeker variation, that pile driver through the ropes into the Starstruck, gets the win over Jay Vidal in a good little match. Post-match is what's more important. Giselle Shaw as Van Evans attack Trinity. Deonna leaves commentary, but she kind of saunters around the ring, and she takes her sweet time, and then finally gets in, takes care of Shawn Evans. That was something. I don't want them to necessarily turn Deonna, but I don't mind them using her past as a way to get her a little bit of heat going into this match. What do you think of Trinity and Vidal and the post-match stuff?
The in-ring I thought was really good. They had a lot of momentum. The Atlanta crowd absolutely loved Trinity. At one point, have you ever seen Hustle and Flow, Joel?
A long-ass time ago, to be honest.
Because the crowd was definitely chanting, whoop that trick, whoop that. And I was dying. I thought that was really good. Deonna sauntering makes sense. I'm the champion. You're about to challenge me. I don't even think that was a heel move. I don't have to save you. Sorry, sis. I know it's a little of a dickheaded move, if you will, if anything, but realistically speaking, I don't have to save you. I don't. And why would I save someone who's going to take my title? Yeah, Giselle Shaw is annoying. I can beat up Giselle Shaw. I can beat up all those people in the ring. Can you?
And she has.
Yeah, quite literally. The only person she hasn't have a pin on is Jay Vidal. And even then, boy, you one step away from a Venus de Milo. So.
All right, well, let's move on. Backstage with Moose, Myers, and the Good Hands. So Myers is like, hey, it's Slammiversary. We're going to team up for those tag titles, Moose. And then Moose is like, yeah, our talent's going to win the tag titles. Not with the Good Hands, though. Ditch the dead weight. So Myers is like, sure, okay. It's only temporary until after Slammiversary. And then the Good Hands are like, the hell just happened? And Hotch just says, I think we just got jobbed.
I love it.
It's a good segment.
It reminded me of, I'm sorry, what?
I was going to say, they had another good one later with Santino, or with Scott D'Amore. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say that segment in particular reminded me of that old commercial. It was a candy commercial where someone ends up taking the candy. He's like, what happened? We got hoes, Tommy. We got hoes. That's what happened. Y'all got hoes by the moose. Don't worry. Myers will be back when they're unsuccessful. And then you guys can have the option to tell Myers to get lost.
Oh, I'm sorry. You think that this is going to end with Myers and Moose losing at Slammiversary?
My apologies.
I'm sorry.
I don't know anything about wrestling.
They are going to absolutely win the tag titles. They're not going to pin Ace of Base. They're going to win the tag title. They're going to pin Rich Swann. And then it's going to be Moose and Myers holding those tag titles. And then the Good Hands are going to challenge again. They're not going to necessarily win. They might turn face, but they might challenge after Ace of Base get their contractual rematch.
I don't want to think. Joe Pearl, the biggest heel in the business. It wouldn't. Boo! This guy stinks. You're right. Oh my God. Next match. Come on.
Congratulations on your new contract, Moose. Lio Rush takes on Jack Price. I love that they promoted this as Lio Rush's debut on Impact on Access TV because they couldn't say it was Lio Rush's Impact debut since he technically debuted at Multiverse, and they don't call that. It was a weird thing, and I'm trying to explain it to somebody earlier. I was actually talking to Gisberto, who does our thumbnails. Shout out to him. And he was just like, why is it so wordy? And I said, because he had the match at Multiverse, so they couldn't lead people astray. Anyway, a good little match, nothing too important. Lio Rush gets the win. He looks smooth. Jack Price sells very well, and Rush gets the win with the final hour. What do you think of this match? What do you think of Lio Rush? A lot more happened with him later, but talk about the match.
The match was fun. I will say the in-ring was fine. I personally, this is me being honest with you guys about my bias, something with me and Lio Rush just doesn't connect. Like, he doesn't wrestle bad, but every time I see him, just like, I don't know. So I wasn't disinterested. The match was fine, but I literally have no notes because I don't know. Something about me and Lio Rush. I want to. I truly do, but I show me the light, Joel. Like you did with Johnny Swinger. Show me the light.
No, I kind of understand where you're coming from. Lio has had a tumultuous career. I like seeing him wrestle. I like seeing him do his thing. He's never really had a character that I've dug into.
Yeah.
The stuff that he did with Bobby Lashley in WWE to me was entertaining, but it was just obnoxious. And that was the point of the character, which is fine. A lot of people like to make fun of the fact that Lio continues to leave, retire, come back. But also, like, I think that's just a stupid trope that people keep digging in on. But it does weigh on the common wrestling fan, that enough people make that joke. So, like, I get where you're coming from. In ring, he is so crisp and he is so smooth. I'm waiting on, and again, from what we saw at the end of the night, I'm hoping that we see a Lio Rush that has a great character, something that you want to see, and you want to see him get the shit kicked out of him, because that's
even if he doesn't do that, I just want some personality. I want something out of him, because to me, you've got all the moves, all the things. I just want you to say something that'll make me just be like, okay, I get it. It makes sense. Like, I could watch you, but okay.
Yep. And he tried with the Man of the Hour, the Moth gimmick, which was fine. I'm just like, I'm waiting for the next one. I'm waiting for the next step in Rush's progression. So I get it. And again, there have been other wrestlers that you and I have sat here and said, I don't get it. And then they turned that corner and they figured it out. And we've been like, great. So there's an opportunity here, like I keep alluding to. At the end of the night, we're going to talk about that when we get there. But there's an opportunity here for him to have a good, not just showing, but a good character development. We'll get to that. Speaking of character development, super serious wrestler Dirty Dango, our favorite. He's asked, how does it feel to get struck by the Cobra? And he talks about Santino, and he goes back to Santino's early days. He tells a story which has been told before. He wasn't really talking out of school. Like, millions of podcasts have talked about this. The story about Santino when he was in FCW, getting slapped around by Jim Cornette. This has been talked about on like the Bruce Pritchard podcast. It's been talked about. But then he did the suing part and insinuating that Santino was moved up to main roster as a way not for him to sue. That part is the made up part. That's the not as accurate part. Then he mentioned Santino's daughter, who is in WWE. Her name is Ariana Grace, called her Bianca, which is her shoot name. And of course, just did the Dango serious thing. And then it was interspersed with someone trying to talk to him and him trying to be cool. I don't know. It was weird. It was another weird promo from Dango. Before I get to your thoughts, let's just get to the Santino reply because they went right into it. He says, my hands are tied, but at Slammiversary, Scott D'Amore comes back to his job. To which I said, wait, what? We'll talk about that in a sec. And he says, this is supposed to be Santino's post-in-ring career, but Dango talks shit, and now he's going to humiliate him at Slammiversary. This is a great, passionate promo. And you know what would have made it 100 times better, Cresta Star?
What?
Not doing that stupid fudging accent.
You can't. While I agree, it'd be way more awkward if Santino just started speaking normal. You'd be like, yo, who is this?
We've heard him speak normal. We know he can, and what can, you know how we can get around it? He can say, you're not talking to Santino Morel anymore. You're talking to Anthony Corelli. And he's been Anthony Corelli on Impact before.
That's fair.
This isn't something that we don't know about. I sit there and I'm like, this is a really great promo. Imagine if he delivered it without the stupid Italian accent. The fake stupid accent makes it so unbelievable.
I liked it. I think you can't break kayfabe all the time, man. You know that as a longtime Impact viewer. I didn't even know his real name until just now.
He's been on the show as his original name.
Listen, that to me, okay? It's not real to me, damn it.
Not real to me.
It's not real to me.
So this is the whole thing. And I'm going to ask you about the Dango stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
But someone points out in the chat, Dango brought up personal stuff. So why wouldn't you, the wrestler who's being attacked on a personal matter, just be yourself and ditch the character at that point? Give me some realism here. Give me something that makes me understand that you are pissed off behind this stupid accent.
Well, maybe. Ooh, excuse me. Get it out. It don't pay rent. Maybe he's waiting till after he's done. Listen, if you gotta, it don't pay rent. It don't pay rent. It's not here for it. It maybe after Slammiversary he wants to do something in ring. Maybe not full time, but for a 3-week, 2-week, push Dango along, do that storyline, and then take a step back. Then he could get super serious. Up until then, he still has to be the director of authority until Scott D'Amore allegedly comes back at Slammiversary, but he's got a match. But okay, I don't want to think. I turned my brain off. So that could be a reasoning. And then after that, if he wants to be super serious, because only Dango wants to be super serious, it seems. If he wants to do it, then to me, that would make more sense. Until then, I got to play my part until I've had it.
Fine. No, I get it. Listen, I get it. It's just my feeling is you got personal. Let's make it more personal. Let's do that. The Edwards is there backstage, and in walks Frankie Kazarian. He's pissed off. Said he hit him on purpose in that tag match last week that we didn't really care for. And then they argue for a minute. They talk about their trainer Killer Kowalski, swear on his grave again, and then Edwards says, your ego is too big and we're just better off as opponents. And then Kazarian's like, yes, we are. And they walk off and okay.
Killer Kowalski did not die for this, for y'all to be swearing on his grave to lie. He did. That's not what he died for. Stop it. Also, I just find it really funny how y'all are saying, your ego is too big for this. We don't need this. I love a good delusional heel, but come BFFR. Come on, be for real.
So we're just going to a mixed tag. Just announce the mixed tag. Bring in Tracy Brooks. Let's go. The Edwards versus the Kazarians.
Battle of the
Dex Baker sends a super chat saying the show was booked for Cresta. Swinger in the main event of BTI. Masha and Kelly are basically married. We're about to talk about that. Minimal Bully Ray on screen. A new Joe Hendry song. Sirius Santino and the British are coming.
Listen, with that Masha and Kelly, something has changed within me.
Buddy.
This is such good shit. If this was the 90s HLA, oh, this is such good shit. This is so good.
I don't know if you meant to go there. And I don't know if you heard this. We're going to talk about the HLA comment in a minute. Remind me. Kyle and King versus Masha Slamovich. Good back and forth match. King looks tough as nails with Masha. It's good stuff. Taylor Wilde gets involved in the middle. Killer Kelly comes out, chokes out Taylor Wilde with that dog collar chain that they used at the last show. Chokes out Taylor Wilde. Masha hits the snowplow on Kyle and King, gets the win. The post-match is what matters. Kelly ties the chain around her neck. Masha does the same. We have a tag team. Cresta Star, a very, very horny tag team. And going back to your HLA comment, someone in the crowd 100% was chanting it. Just one guy, but they were chanting it. So your 90s wish isn't too far off, because there are a bunch of people who are feeling a certain way about this killer tag team.
This is Rhea Ripley all over again. Bisexual panic! Ah! This is, okay. Horny jokes aside, this is really good because these are two stiff women. The match too. Let's talk about the match first before I get into on my soapbox. Nobody really manhandles Kylan King. And when she put Kylan King in the snowplow, Kylan King is like 9'9". Bro, what are you doing? Kylan King even started off a match with a pump kick to Masha's face. The match itself was stiff. But I think Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich have a chemistry in the ring where these two are stiff. I love to see them wrestle. I'm excited to see them as a tag team. But let's be for real here. Come on now. Wrestling is a very visual sport. No matter how you feel about it, good, bad, big, small, I'm looking. And you know that I'm looking. And because I'm looking, I am going to watch. I am invested. And sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it just happens. This is the second time this has happened in 2 years, and I'm upset. Not really. And
Let me tell you something that makes me very sad. Okay. So Kate had mentioned during the crossover, or actually maybe it was during the Ring of Honor review. Go check that out, by the way. It was earlier in the video. Don't go now, go afterwards. Or if you're in audio form, to download the other one. Anyway, she mentioned that she got to interview Trish Adora, who is wonderful. Now, I had plans to interview Masha Slamovich again because I haven't spoken to her since she lost the GCW World Championship. I spoke to her first when she won it, the day after she won it. I had plans to talk to her about this very tag team because a lot of people would like to know, what are we doing here?
I'm here for the ride. I don't even know. I don't care.
I know. And I want to get her on the record. I need to know, what are we doing? Unfortunately, the show that we were at in Toronto called Girls Next Door, Masha was unable to make it because of some travel issues because she was coming straight from Atlanta. And so there was some flight delays. By the way, shout out to Shaza McKenzie, who has been literally sitting in an airport all day dealing with delays. She's another one who keeps getting screwed by the airline.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. So anyway, I wanted to talk to Masha about that, but unfortunately, we're not able to. Maybe down the line. But this Killer Kelly Masha Slamovich pairing is great. The Kinky Redheads, as someone mentioned in the chat. There's got to be a better name for them, but leave it in the comments after we go off the line, off the air.
PG-13, please. I know how y'all give it up. Come on, allude, be creative.
True, but also Kyler has to deal with those, not me. So whatever you leave, it's all good. A very horny tag team. That's all. They air a very lengthy Scott D'Amore promo, which is very good. Let's talk about the interview. They mentioned, Gia Miller mentions that Darren McCarty is going to be the special guest enforcer for that tag team match with Bully and Macklin. And when it was announced, honestly, I just threw up the Fightful Overbooked logo because I know what this match is going to be. It's going to be a wreck and it's going to be hilarious. And Scott D'Amore just replies, I don't know why he's there. We're not going to be following any rules. And then the Good Hands walk in and they start blaming Scott D'Amore. They say that this all started when Scott hit that Canadian Destroyer at Sacrifice, when Darren McCarty also showed up. And Scott says, well, I can't wrestle you now because my agreement is only to wrestle at Slammiversary and only at Slammiversary. So instead, it's going to be the Good Hands versus PCO 2-on-1 next week. What do you think of the promo video? There was a lot of content in there. And what did you think of the interview with Gia Miller afterwards?
The fact that he didn't even bring up his son, Joe Pearl, criminal. It explains why you're the biggest heel in the business. I see your villain origin story. Secondly, I did not know he invented the Canadian Destroyer. For the life of me, I thought that was Petey Williams.
Well, here we are.
I learned something today. Scott D'Amore back in the day? Okay. I see you, Buff Daddy. I did not know what he looked like back in the day. It also made me look up PCO back in the day. Okay, I see you. So I'm excited to see what Scott D'Amore does. This is going to be a schmoz fest, like you said. We complain about Bully Ray matches until they come until I'm like, all right, this is great anarchy. I'm here for it. I'm excited. I'm also a little scared. They're like, this is the first time I think they said he wrestled like 7 years. No, that I don't think that was the number, but they said it's like the first time he's wrestled in a very long time. And I'm like, okay, Scott D'Amore. The fact that he still invented the Canadian Destroyer is still blowing mine. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's wild. It's not too far off, and that's going to be the high spot. It's going to be the Canadian.
Oh, I can't wait for him to do that to Bully.
I want to do an interview with Darren McCarty in the Weeds, and I think we're working on that. So Jeremy and I, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern over on Fightful Overbooked, we get in the weeds. A lot of interviews have been happening lately, but you want to get the notes on those interviews. You want to get all the info that you need. You can subscribe to Fightful Select, the best $5 in the business. There is so much content. You know what? Sean Ross Sapp this week, he's in jolly old England. He Pip Pip. He's out trying to find Nick Aldis, but Nick Aldis is across the pond. So instead, we've got Sean Ross Sapp being Sean Ross Nick Aldis. Anyway, so while Sean is over in the UK, he's still getting a lot of scoops for Money in the Bank and a ton of other things. He dropped the CM Punk is going to appear at the Collision tapings tonight. And by the way, Punk did. He didn't wrestle, but he was on the show. It wasn't fully advertised, so he was there tonight. We have more on the Bryan Danielson injury coming out of Forbidden Door. What's changed? What's going on? You want to know when Blood and Guts is happening? Well, AEW dropped it last night. That is going to happen on July 19th, but we had it earlier on FightfulSelect.com, along with interview notes from all your favorites. The first Fuego del Sol interview, we dropped that today on the main channel, but if you want the interview notes, go to FightfulSelect.com. We dropped those early, along with any interview you see. What else is there? Money in the Bank scoops we talked about. Grab City, they did their Q&A today, so that's there. Jimmy Van and I are supposed to do a Q&A. We'll probably do it next week, to be honest with you. But you get all that and all of the sour graps. You get Coexisting with Rob and Maggie. You get the... What do you get? You get the backstage report, which this week was done by the two Robs. They do a good job. So good job, Robs. Good job, Robs.
It should be in between two Robs, like in between two Ferns. You guys can have that for free.
That's the one I'm going to go with. Between two Robs. But that's too close to Between Two Beards over at our pals in Love Wrestling. But anyway, not important. They are. Love Wrestling's important, but calling it that, whatever. You know what? Fightful Select, best $5 in the business. If you haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe now. That's my pitch. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah.
That was good. I liked it. I'm interested. If I didn't already spend $5 on Fightful, I'd spend another $5 on Fightful. You should spend the $5 that I would spend on Fightful
There you go. Bing? No, sorry. I got ahead of myself. Folks, get your super chats in, get your humper chats in, because you know what? We're going to keep talking about it. We're almost down the home stretch. Yuya Uemura versus Kenny King. Technically, this is our main event match of the night. Joe Hendry is seen in the production truck getting some footage queued up, which makes Matt Raywald very nervous throughout the match. I do like the beginning where Kenny King is using the referee to go around and then do a cheap shot on Yuya Uemura. Some good heel shit coming out of that. Yuya has a really good, believable comeback. I love that stuff. King eventually wins with a royal flush, and then post-match, Joe Hendry appears, says he appreciated King and Gene interrupting his match last week, so he's going to help out this week by celebrating a new music video on the career of Kenny King. I'm going to be honest, Cresta. This one was great, but it wasn't his best. Male stripper. As revealed on the sessions with Renee Paquette, once upon a time, it's true. Kenny King was a male stripper, part of Chippendales. What do you think of the match with Yuya and King? And what do you think of the post-match with the new song from Joe Hendry?
I'm not going to hold you. I disrespected that match because once I saw Joe Hendry in the truck, all I could think of, Yuya about to get squashed because Kenny King about to get lit up after this match. That's exactly what happened. The match itself was fine. I enjoy Sheldon Jean doing what Kenny King was doing in Honor No More. I see you pimping. You're not sneaky. I'm here for it. Was this Joe Hendry's best work? No. But it was funny. But at the same time, sex work is real work, and we shouldn't be making fun of strippers. But also, where did you find that picture, Kenny King? Joe Hendry violates every time he does a song. Even if you've seen his work on the indies, where he was making fun of Scotty Suhadi, he's the worst best. So I hate to say this. When Joe Hendry loses his title, he has every bit of it coming because you're kind of a bully.
He'll never lose that title. What are you saying?
I mean, hopefully not. Now I'm going to be hurt, aghast, appalled when he loses it. However, in the long list of crappy things you've done, you called a man a stripper. You told someone that his wife should leave him because he's playing with toys. Joe Hendry, even in your vignette, you took some man's inheritance. I'm questioning if you're the good guy.
Hey, man, listen. Joe Hendry is a good guy. He's a great guy. You say his name and he appears. You got to believe in Joe Hendry.
I believe.
Good. Therefore, he's a good guy.
That's true. Listen, I am blind. I will justify. I'm one of those heel commentators. If Joe Hendry turned heel and hit Josh Matthews today, I'm like, wow. Well, Josh Matthews did have that thing to say. I'm an apologist.
See, exactly. You get it. I'm not going to be an apologist for this, though. Nick Aldis comes out. It's time for him to explain his actions.
What's so
people have been... No, that's the backstage one that I'm trying to get a job with. By the way, Scott, hire me, please. I know that this isn't the company that does the nepotism thing, but please consider it for me.
I mean, Jimmy Jacobs is injured. He got a super kick, and now he's super in the super space.
No, you messed up.
Hire Joe Pearl. You don't got to hire Cresta, but you got to hire Joe Pearl.
Yeah, that's true. So Nick Aldis comes out and he says people have been demanding an explanation from him for his actions from 2 weeks ago. And then I am going to tell you, he says. And he invites Alex Shelley down to the ring so he can say it to his face, Alex Shelley style. Yes, Alex Shelley style. Sorry, I had a good joke there, and I'm not going to say it. And then out comes Alex Shelley, and Nick Aldis says, "You knocked Jimmy Jacobs into next Wednesday." That was the line. Which, when I heard it, I laughed so hard.
I'm expecting to see him on Dynamite. I'm expecting it.
If he's holding the microphone for someone else, I will be so upset at you, Jimmy Jacobs. Turning on your girl like that.
I'm not. Jeff Jarrett, get your money. Get your money.
Jimmy Jacobs and Jeff Jarrett. Let's go. The double J's. I am into it. Okay, I'm back into it now. Back to the promo. Nick Aldis points his seats out in the crowd for Alex Shelley to go sit in. And Shelley says, sure, I'll sit with them. It's an honor to sit with the Impact fans. And he says, the reason why I turned on you is because you wouldn't let me do my part in the 10-man tag. The Motor City Machine Gun stopped me from entering the match. And you embarrassed me. That's the gist of it. That Chris Sabin got too full of himself. He says that there was a fake. He calls Alex a fake revolutionary on a slick propaganda campaign to mischaracterize and malign Aldis. And then he says, "Don't get butthurt." These were his words. He does say, "Don't be butthurt." This eloquent man starts going on about getting butthurt. That he won the world title before Alex Shelley, or don't get butthurt that he was being endorsed by the likes of Ric Flair, Harley Race, and Dory Funk Jr. And Aldis says, I'm here to stop Alex Shelley from taking wrestling to a dark and nasty place. So at Slammiversary, the transitional reign is over. Aldis is going to humiliate Alex Shelley. Shelley says, hey, shut up, and I'm going to come and shut you up. And then they brawl at ringside until Aldis gets the better of it, does some cheap tactics. And then out comes Chris Sabin to make the save. And as we are getting down the end of the show, Leo Rush comes out of nowhere, takes out Chris Sabin, looks like Aldis and Rush are going to team up as they hit the Motor City Machine Guns with their respective singles titles. Rush holds up the X Division title, Aldis holds up the world title, and they leave together. So there we go. Cresta, what do you think of this main event segment with Aldis and everybody else around it?
I'm going to tell you the exact moment I turned my brain off in the Aldis promo. Comes out to the match and starts talking about this unsafe working environment, and I turned my brain off. I was half-heartedly expecting, I'm gonna give y'all my straight up, me being honest. I was half-heartedly expecting him to come out there, be serious, and I guess be a heel. Give some sort of credence to I'm not Brutus Magnus. I'm not that guy. I'm a different guy. I'm serious about it. But then he started doing that. I was like, oh, the British are coming. Oh, I don't care. But then I started to care again because it makes sense in the sense of I have a sound clip I would like to play for you, Joe Pearl. If we're all thinking this.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
When he eventually pins Shelly, we'll take it because, oh, boo, this guy is a jerk. Boo. Now, whoever the next baby face is, it'll look great because Aldis, you jerk. It wasn't connecting with you as a face. Let's be for real. It was giving, I'm too good for this. But I don't know this. I would have rather you cut that promo as a face than whatever that was. Because calling people butthurt, I'ma say it. Where are you getting promo advice from Jungle Boy? Please stop. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again. I don't ever do that again, bro.
So the one thing I thought about when he went that way was that Aldis was so not communicative. He was so wordy and he was so verbose and he had all the right words, but the crowd was starting to throw him off. And he kept trying to stop the crowd and be like, excuse me, I'm talking, or excuse me, pay attention to me, to the point where he got so frustrated that he lost his words. And then he started to use words like butthurt. So the story,
cut a promo from the heart at that point.
Well, that's the thing. He started having to speak the way he would. The true Nick Aldis was coming out. It was the real Nick Aldis. It was the one who is just pissed off at the fans and isn't actually this dapper dress suit wearing type of guy. He's just like, he wants to be t-shirt and jeans, but that's never been Nick Aldis, at least outwardly. So now he's just like, I'm saying butthurt because I'm so thrown off by the crowd. Maybe I'm reading way too into it, and maybe someone's going to tell me that I'm on the right track. I don't know. But to me, thinking about it, it would make sense. He's getting thrown off. He's getting pissed off. And then he ends up fighting with Alex Shelley when typically he'd just be like, no, we'll save it for the ring.
Yeah. I will also say Lio Rush coming out. I'm not mad. If this is foreshadowing what's going to happen with the Motor City Machine Guns, yikes. Come on, 3-week push. See you at Slammiversary, nerds. However, I'm not mad at it because Motor City Machine Guns, like I've said before, is one of those tag teams, both of them as a team and individually. If they win or they lose, everyone's better for it. I don't necessarily agree with putting a title on Lio Rush right away. At least not the X division. I could see you taking it off of Joe Hendry, and I wouldn't be mad about that. But Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin literally just won their titles, and I feel like Aldis is a super credible threat, and I think Aldis is going to take it off of Shelley. If I'm being honest with you, I don't want it, but I think that's legitimately going to happen.
Well, announced on the show was Ultimate X over at Slammiversary. It's going to be Speedball Mike Bailey, Jonathan Gresham, Kushida, Kevin Knight, and Alan Angels. Looking forward to Angels showing out. I think this might be his match to win for Ultimate X. And then, of course, the winner of Ultimate X gets a X Division Championship match whenever they want it. Speaking of which, Lio Rush and Chris Sabin looks like it's on for Slammiversary. They did post a video afterwards from Chris Sabin effectively saying it's happening. And that's a match that honestly is going to be great. I just hope that they tell the story effectively and let Lio Rush have some sort of character that's not just chip on my shoulder, I'm pissed off man of the hour.
Yeah. I mean, the man of the hour, I think there is so much to do with. There's so much that you can do with it, rather. And I'm hoping that being across from someone like a Chris Sabin will really bring it out of you. I really want to connect more with Lio Rush, but I would hate for him to get a new lease on life or wrestling, whatever it is, an Impact, and the fans still be like, that would suck. That would suck at the cost of Leo Rush and at the cost of Chris Sabin. So I know I trust Impact with people's stories, telling something new, reinventing them. I've seen what you've done for Angels, or what you're trying to do with Angels, what you've done for Khan, what you're doing for Trinity, what you've done even for Steve Macklin. So I know it's possible. So I have faith. I'm going to put all my I can't get behind him aside to say I will give you a fair shot here in Impact, because I think you can do it. I know you can do it. You have it in you. I just want there to be some sort of connection. And Motor City Machine Guns are the right ones to bring it out.
Earlier this week on Fightful Select, we reported that Mickie James is very close to returning, that it's an imminent return. There's, going back to earlier what we talked about at the beginning of the show, George Iceman saying, is there someone who put him up to this, put Nick Aldis up to this? I wouldn't be surprised if Mickie James is part of this. A heel Mickie James seems to be where we're going. Nick Aldis already firmly heel. Mickie James never presented the title to Deonna Purrazzo that she was supposed to at Rebellion. Now we can pick up that story with Mickie saying, I want the title I never lost. She'll come in hot as a babyface, and then she'll possibly beat Deonna by underhanded means, or Trinity if Trinity wins the Knockouts title. And now we've got Aldis and Aldis and Mickie James as a heel power couple. Because remember, we talked about this being the Macklin and Deonna Purrazzo power couple, but they were on opposite sides of the spectrum. Now we've got Aldis and James. We can make them a heel power couple that would work.
I could see that. I could also see it being where if Mickie does come back, let's say Purrazzo loses to Trinity, which is what I think is going to happen. That's just me. I could see it going either way, but I would like it if Trinity won. Mickie comes back, has beef with Purrazzo. You didn't even lose it, and then you lost it. How dare you? You guys beef for a while to keep her and Trinity separate, and then whenever that's done, then if Trinity's still here or if she decides to stay, then you could do a long, lengthy program, because someone like Mickie James, especially with the last rodeo, I think she brings so much depth to that roster, and having someone like her go against Trinity, but Trinity has to win. That's just me. Trinity has to win that one unless she's leaving. Then hardcore country. Then I'm back on the rodeo.
I love it. Then that's Impact for June 29th. I think there's a lot of meat on the bone. I think we're getting closer to Slammiversary. Well, I know that we are. That show's in 2 weeks. We will have a post show. That's going to be a fun one because Steven Jensen should be joining us for that one. I don't think I'm going to Windsor. That is a far further commute than London. That's about a 3-hour drive. I could fly and it takes about an hour, but I don't know if anyone wants to foot the bill for me. Instead, I'll just beat up Steve Macklin in August. How's that?
You are tough, but I want to be the special guest ref. I'm a Zicky Dice it.
Yeah. Perfect. I'll bring you with. Until then, Cresta Star, tell them what you got going on.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here every Thursday with myself and Joe Pearl. I am here talking about Impact Wrestling. Saturdays, I'm typically on the Collision Show with Rick and Iridian, sometimes Sean Ross Sapp. This Saturday, I will not be there, so it'll be Iridian, Rick, and Sean, I think, if Sean is back. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you can find me over on Twitch and TikTok at Cresta Star. I am live going over Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, and Rampage. There's a lot of wrestling that I watch, Jesus Christ. If that was a lot of information, Cresta the Star on Twitter. There's a link tree in my bio. Follow me on all forms of social media. I think I got this one out in a reasonable amount of time. Joe Pearl, where can they find you at?
First of all, I don't think Sean's going to be on the AW Collision post show because Money in the Bank is this Saturday.
Well, it's just Rick and Iridian, baby.
It might just be. You know what? That's fine. It's a taped episode of Collision. It might not be as important. We'll find out. But either way, I am at Joel Pearl, JoeLPEARL. I get in the weeds with Jeremy Lambert every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over at Fightful Overbooked. Joel and Kate at 8 on Fightful Overbooked every Sunday evening. And of course, Cresta and I are here every Thursday on the main doing the post-impact show. Come and check us out. We're a good time, I guess. We talk a lot.
We do stuff.
Yeah, we do some stuff. Until next time, ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one.